All right, friends, welcome back. Welcome back after an exciting morning of sessions. Hopefully, you are on your way to fulfilling your objective for the day as it relates to the sessions. And obviously, this debrief is part of how you can accomplish that objective. So, what I want to do is frame our time together, um, our reflection. And I think these three objects will kind of dictate how we spend our time together: a mirror, a microscope, and binoculars. So, in our time together, we'll have some opportunity to look at ourselves in the mirror. We'll understand how our current habits and our choices talk about our values and what's important to us. Our microscope, we'll have the opportunity to make this 4-day experience larger. That's right. I said larger, not smaller. So we want to talk about what this program had, what effect did it have on you? And binoculars. We know that binoculars, they help the distant become closer. And that's what we want to do today is we all probably have aspirations, goals. We want to take steps today on how you can make sure that the distant becomes more closer to you. So again, if you were here on Wednesday, another way that I framed our reflection is from a perspective of talking about what, so what, and now what. And I think these three objects also speak to that as well. So we'll start with the what questions or the mirror. Go ahead and in whatever you have in front of you, take some time to reflect on these three questions individually in quiet. We'll give you about 2.5 minutes to do so, and then we will talk about them one out loud. But again, I want to make sure that you have some time to jot down notes first. So go ahead and do that related to these three questions. Another 30 seconds. So as we bring it back to the large group, does anyone want to share some of their thoughts on what they wrote down for what did you learn about yourself, your options, and transitioning into your post-undergraduate days? Or any thoughts on what does your leadership approach look like? I think all three questions are important. I think the leadership approach question speaks a lot to one of our previous presenters said in helping to develop your why and how that might be important to navigating your job offers, navigating your salary offers or benefits. So I'd like to hear from you all. What are some of your thoughts on those last two questions?
For me, I would say that my leadership approach is kind of like a quiet one. I remember back in high school, I was a captain on my soccer team, and my coach had said that I have a quiet leadership style where the way that I carry myself, I just work with others. I kind of just command respect in that I'm not forceful with my leadership, but I do earn the respect of my coworkers and my peers. So it's not like a tyrannical type of leadership. I kind of am part of the group, but then I also have that ability to lead the group as well.
Okay. Yep. Thank you for sharing. Other thoughts?
I think for me, I don't really know exactly like what it would be considered or called for leadership, but I think I'm like pretty genuine, and I really care about others. So just connecting, either one-on-one or in environments like this, and always considering like you said, the why and like what value do I bring to the table, but what value am I getting back? So it's kind of a reciprocated relationship.
Sounds like you would be great at networking, right? People can like they can see if somebody cares, is genuinely interested. So everything that you just mentioned, I think, makes you for someone that would be great at networking. How about one more response before we move on?
I was just gonna say with the second question, I think from really all of these talks, even though a lot of this has to do with career readiness, I think I'm learning how much you can actually do apart from the job itself. I think I've learned so much about if you can be consistent, just the networking aspect and even the personal budgeting aspect or building a personal brand. I feel like there's the actual job that you do and you clock in, you go to work, but there's just so many other things that you can be doing to keep growing. And I think that was really helpful for me because I always sort of saw it as sort of your job is something that you kind of like happens to and then you're sort of cemented. So I thought it was really encouraging to see how many different options we have at our disposal that we can do in our free time to keep moving forward and get closer to our own personal goals.
Always learning, right? And I think you've kind of shared what the growth mindset is about and how important it is, and how much more there is to learn out there. So that's awesome. That's awesome. If you were here for the daily brief in the morning, we also had that question up on the screen about describing how you collaborate with others or what role do you play in the collaboration of others. I wouldn't be surprised if some of that is infused with the leadership approach answer that you may have jotted down. So that question about collaboration is a good one to reflect on as well. But I'm going to move it on to our next set of questions. And these are our so what questions, right? So we're on to the microscope. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes to answer these questions in your journals or your pieces of paper in front of you. So who would be a good advisor, mentor, reference, or guide? When am I most energized and focused? What am I working on? What am I not doing? 30 more seconds. Okay. Does anyone want to share their thoughts to the second question? When you are energized and focused, what are you working on? And what are you not doing? I know that's a loaded question, but would anyone want to share?
Hello. Hi.
Hmm?
I would I'd like to address maybe the first one, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
And I would say I would like to um continue to be wise, but yet be what's the word? Relevant, but still have a comprehension of what's happening now. And I say that because um my life experiences, they can speak in a way that others have not necessarily gone through, but at the same time, I can remain relevant to the time where I am, and I still have that still have that ability to speak into the lives of those that have not necessarily um, trail the roads that I've gone, but to be able to be a positive input, and at the same time being able to be applicable in someone's life. Although I've learned all these things while I've been at UTC, but still intertwining that with my life's journey to be a positive impact with someone as they're trailblazing, as they're going forth in life.
Yeah, and I appreciate you sharing that. I think we all have those experiences and perspectives to share. And I hope that everyone continues to engage with one another. And you don't need to have a title in front of your name or a position to be able to offer feedback or advice that's worthwhile, because you went through something that maybe others haven't gone through. You can share a perspective that others might need to know. So you have a lot of knowledge, so don't be afraid to share that. And I appreciate you for saying that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Does anyone else want to share on one of these two questions?
I'd like to chime in if I can.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I know it's a two-part question. For the first one, I used to think I only needed one mentor, but now I think of it as a committee of mentors, where I know I can go to somebody in a different space, like in health. I'm personally in finance, but now I know how to have relevant exposure in other markets. And then what would make a good advisor is someone that's compassionate, somebody that's adaptable, and that recognizes if I'm in a situation where it's vulnerable, they know how to respond and they know how to deliver. So instead of telling me this is what you should do, this is what you should do, it's not really adaptable or a cookie cutter like situation. And so if they understand that, I think they would make a great advisor. And then as for the second question, I think understanding the bigger picture and knowing where I make the most impact. Because if I don't understand that, I just think I'm like in the wheelhouse working and not really understanding like what I'm actually doing or why I'm actually doing it. But yeah, that's my part. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing. And again, thank you for being here. Absolutely. You could have more than one mentor or advisor. They could come and go. I have a board of directors that I call them my board of directors, and they tell me what I need to hear, but yet they're compassionate. They're empathetic. But those individuals have switched, come and gone. They're all important in my journey. So think about that board of directors and kind of the people that you have in your inner circle, and if they're adding value to you. Our next set of questions, we're moving on to the binoculars. It's the now what questions. So what do you feel compelled to pursue? How will I apply what I've learned from the Mind the Gap sessions today? How will you apply it next week, next month? And what is your definition of success? So take about a minute and a half. Thirty more seconds. Alrighty. Does anyone have any thoughts related to these three questions or anything they would like to share that they think would be helpful?
I think for me, everyone has a different definition of success. It looks different for everybody, but for me, I think overall, if I feel peaceful and I'm getting joy out of what I'm doing and also giving that to other people, then to me, that's success. And as long as I'm in an environment where I'm still becoming better in a growth mindset, then I think all around, that's success to me.
Yeah, I wrote down something similar for my definition of success. I said that success for me is just kind of being in an overall good state of well-being, where you're happy and fulfilled, like emotionally, financially, physically, kind of just all around, and being in a spot where you're not stagnant, but you're constantly being challenged as well.
Absolutely. I could say personally, my definition of success out of college looked different than what it is today. And I was chasing some things in the beginning, and now I'm not chasing those things. And I think it's something that always evolves. But I know it's important to have those values always looking at me in the mirror. So absolutely, I loved everything that you all shared. And I think when it comes to these questions, remember that as you're writing these down in a journal or piece of paper, save that piece of paper, come back to that question. We don't want the questions and reflection to just sit on a shelf somewhere. It should be a working, living document. So make sure that you're taking that time to reflect on these questions and other questions. It really adds value and helps with that decision making. So as we come to a close, help us out with one of our questions for today. And what I need you to do is give me 1 second. Getting it queued up. You'll need your phones for this. So if you have your phone in front of you, go to menti.com for me, www.menti.com. And go ahead and enter that code that you see at the top of the screen, 6868978. So 6868978. And answer this question for us and help us create a Wordle. After attending the Mind the Gap conference, I feel. Go ahead and jot down some words, things that come to mind. Connected to others, encouraged, more knowledgeable, confident, motivated, empowered, encouraged, informed, active, prepared, more prepared to find a job after college, pursue, give it one more second, wanting to learn more, I should say. Okay. They keep coming in. Thank you all. Better understanding of my goals. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to stop the share really quickly, but please continue to input words. It's going to help us generate a word cloud. Can you all see that? Thank you. Perfect, perfect. So, the Center for Career and Leadership Development would like to thank you all for your active participation. Whether you were here on Tuesday, just 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, or all 4 days, we couldn't have done this conference without you. It was our pleasure to kind of be part of that journey with you. Throughout our time together, we've been kind of taking down the names of individuals who have been active, asking questions, writing in the chat box. So again, we have your names. Please be on the lookout potentially for an email with some additional details with a little thank you. And then a lot of people have asked about the recording. So a recording will be available on the website as soon as possible of all the sessions that we were able to record. If you registered, you will receive an email letting you know that they're up. So be on the lookout for that. And if you didn't register, just check back the website. If you type in UTC Mind the Gap, it will kind of lead you into the website. And from there, obviously.
I'll throw out there. Sorry, Danny, I was just going to let you know the registration link is still active. So if you have not registered yet and you still want to get on that email list, you still have time for now. So it's out there. Just put your name in if you haven't already.
And I just want to again, turn it back to the team and to see if they have any kind of last comments or anything else to share.
Yeah, Danny. So this is Rob Liddell. I just want to publicly thank the entire design team and all of the facilitators for the blood, the sweat, the tears that went into this, but also for the students that that have just been enormously important to us. They've been our motivating force to say, hey, what can we do in this weird time of COVID with a weird schedule? What can we do that would be helpful? And we're so glad that Mind the Gap made sense to so many of you. But to go back to what Danny was saying, this is not about, hey, open yourself up to receiving some information, but this is more about connecting with resources and people. And so look around in these kind of Zoom panels. And I know that we've seen a lot of the same faces throughout the week. And so these might be the people that you'd like to connect with, because obviously they're goal oriented. A lot of you are studying similar things, or you've been exposed to similar things. So again, these are the people that you'd want in your tribe, in your foxhole. When things get hard, you want folks that can hustle and that are similarly situated with value and outlook. These are the folks that are going to challenge your thinking. They're going to encourage you to get back out there when you skin your knee, etc. So please, please, please make use of that aspect of this kind of community. That's some of the value of doing this work. But the last thing I'll say is this. This is never intended to be like a substitute for a real professional relationship with folks within the Center for Career and Leadership Development. If anything, this is like an infomercial. I can remember at my last school, we organized this huge like 75 on 75 kickball game. So it was literally like a massive humanity. It was hysterically fun. We called it Kickstart because we did it in January. In Florida, it's not nearly as cold as it is here in Chattanooga, but or as it might be in Maryland, Mo. But again, that whole notion about a kickstart, about hey, your future is right in front of you, and I don't know where your end line is or the finish line is, but I know where your start line is, and it's right at your feet. So if you want some help, some motivation, some skill build, some technique, some accountability, whatever you need from us, we're dedicated to put it on the table for you to pick up. And so, but again, we have a lot of things, but we don't have the ability to read your mind. So please reach out confidently, ask us for the things that you believe you need, or say, I've kind of got like this Mad Lib sheet and I don't know how to fill in some of these answers. Help me kind of figure that out. And I think you'll be surprised by how far you can go and grow with an individual kind of appointment, or within the context of relationship. But as I hope you've seen, some of us within the department like to talk. Some of us are much more disciplined and can kind of maintain the silence. So I'll stop talking at that. But I just want to say thank you again for spending so much quality time with us this week. This has been a personal and professional highlight for me. And just really excited to have played a small part.
What he said. No, I would add to that the neat thing for me has been that you guys have helped us to get started with the semester, because we've been without students for quite a while, seeing a few individual ones, but not having the interaction that we got to have with this Mind the Gap. So thank you for your participation. Every single one of you gave a gift in the conversations you had with us, and we won't forget the gift. Thank you.
And I'll add a thank you as well, because I'm one of those people that thrives on being able to like physically check off a to-do list, or to have a tangible product, a thing to say like, look what I helped get to do. And you guys helped me get to do this. And all of us do this as a team. And it's been this really great thing to, as Donna would say, get the semester started. Because we haven't gotten to see you guys in so long, and all of our big things that we've been able to check off of our list have been gone for like a year. So it's been really great to get reconnected with some of you and connected for the first time with plenty of others, and to be able to go into this journey with you and to share a lot of information. And I personally look forward to a lot of the connections that we've made this week, and to having more appointments and seeing you at future sessions, and being able to answer any questions or give any guidance that you may need in the future. So thanks for participating.
And sorry, one more thing. I apologize. So again, our goal is to offer this in the future, like a couple more times. And so maybe, you know, as Danny's kind of walked you through a reflection and asked some really challenging, penetrating questions, and he's asked you put them in a journal and kind of come back to these over and over again. So maybe you didn't write this on your goal sheet, but I'm going to challenge you as a stretch goal. Hey, reach out to us and say, hey, I'd like to be a part of planning the next Mind the Gap. I'd like to facilitate a session. I'd like to host a room. I'd like to do something. That would be amazing, because again, if the ideas are limited to the 4 or 5 or 6 of us that work in the unit, yikes, that's a pretty low ceiling. So, but if we can co-create this with our community, with the employer side, with our staff, and with our faculty, and whomever else, that's super important. But again, if it doesn't have a student perspective to it, if it doesn't have voice and authenticity, it just doesn't quite do the same thing. So maybe include that as your stretch goals. Hey, I want to present, I want to give back what's been given to me. I want to share my perspective with others. That would be that'd be amazing, and we'd be down for that for sure. Sorry, Danny.
No, I think your comment and Donna's comment made me think of one thing. And if any of you have seen one of my leadership programs, I love talking about starting with why, for a lot of different reasons. But Donna talked about the gift, right? And so share your gift, share your why. Your why is your gift with others. You know, as Rob said, we want you to be co-collaborators. We want you to present your talents, your expertise, whether it's a Mind the Gap conference coming up, whether it's an idea that we haven't even thought of that you think would be a good idea, or maybe you fill out a program proposal form that we have on our website, and to let us know a little bit more about what you would like to do. A lot of people have a lot to learn from you, including us. And so we want to be part of that with you. So again, thank you.
And if we're talking about an infomercial, and as everyone has thrown out ideas for you to get connected with us, definitely look at jobs that we have available in our department, because we have at least one work study every year, and that position is currently available. And we also have these really great positions for peer career advisors. So if you feel like you've learned a lot and you would like to do some of these things of contributing back to other students, that's a great way to do it, to say, like, you know, peer to peer, this is how I think a resume should look, or this is where I would go to look for jobs like you're looking for, which is often a much better received, commentary than what they would get from us. So yeah, India just posted in the chat there that if you're interested in work study, to get in touch with her. We're one of the people on her list. So yes, we have plenty of excuse me. My voice is done after this week. So we have plenty of opportunities for you to connect with us, to help others, just as you're being served. So definitely look into to those opportunities.
Thank you all. Don't forget to register so we could send you copies of the recordings. That link is active on our website, as Mark mentioned. Thank you. Thank you all. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your holiday. And we appreciate you spending time with us, and we're glad to be part of your journey.